Hello, welcome to Year of the Dragon. I have 12 readings for you based on your age and sign. And as always, the Lunar New Year begins with the first new moon on the Asian calendar, which in the Western calendar happens to be the new moon in Aquarius. This does have an impact on your reading for 2024 and early 2025. Let's begin with the rat. Okay, so Rat, for you, this is really about a pathway between yourself and another person. You are the same kinds of people, but you're different. It's really odd. It's like being the same species, but a different breed. This may be obviously your husband or wife, your boyfriend or girlfriend. It may be your business partner. It could be your friend, but it's very much about the two of you, but there's no dual carriageway. Okay, there's only one obvious path with two destinations, and this may be work or it may be a house or an apartment. You will hit a crossroads this year. Time is of the essence because there is a financial, business, or property issue snapping at your heels. So you can't linger longer. You must have an honest conversation with each other about how this is going to work for both of you. It may be that the obvious way forward is not the way. So if ever there was a case for lateral thinking in 2024, Rat, it's this moment in time. You have to figure out, do we find two different paths? Do we go our separate ways? Do we find a new path that works for both of us? Do we do this together or separately? It's almost like looking at a map and seeing one road and no marked out highways, but knowing that you could create those highways or those alternative left-hand and right-hand turns. Going through this makes you more open, more trusting. It makes you closer. And it doesn't really matter if you're separating or divorcing, or if you're getting married or moving in together. It doesn't really matter if you're family or whether you're business partners. Or maybe there's a work decision. But it's very clear that the two of you need to stop being distracted by things like astrology, funnily enough, and actually talk and get it out of your system and understand that there is a way that you can make this work to your mutual benefit. Okay, so now we're moving on to Ox. More on the relationship front, Ox. It's very important that in 2024 you go back to your family tree. Now, this may be your mother's side or your father's side, or it may be a side of the family that you've created yourself. This will ground you, center you, stabilize you, and it will help you feel happier about the relationships that you find to be unfulfilling. There is a case here for saying that it's not them, it's you. And I don't mean to say that in an unkind way. You maybe know the truth of this yourself, and it becomes more evident in 2024 that if you're not feeling as if you fully belong where you are, if you're not feeling correctly centered and on the planet, then it's very hard to get anything at all from other people, no matter how precious they are or how important they are. Other people can feel as if they're empty vessels to you. But as I've said, the reality is that if you go back to the family tree, your roots, your ancestors, your relatives, maybe geographically where one side of the family comes from, you find a sense of place and belonging that helps you appreciate more who and what is on offer to you. What I think might spur this change is that you realize here's another person being offered to me. Here's yet another person, and yet again, I'm not interested. Okay. And it may be friendship, it may be a relationship, it may be family, but that's the point at which you begin to say, well, maybe it's me. Something else that may help you a lot with grounding is basic walking, okay? Long walks in the countryside or by water if you can, or just in a local park. And anything that brings you back down to Mother Earth. So some yoga poses and some meditation will work on your base chakra, and this will help you connect to the planet and come back into yourself. Because what I'm getting from your chart, your Asian chart this year, is that you're almost floating and you're not really there. Okay. There's more to say for you though. So basically, Ox, I think you're also here to make money this year, not in any wow way, but in a steady chain of income. Because you are a craftsman or a craftswoman, you are a professional, you know how to deliver the goods. You've reached a point in your life where your talents and skill set enable you to offer the same quality end product or outcome repeatedly. So people come to trust that and they come to value it. You put a price on it, they're happy to pay it. And although money doesn't grow on trees, in 2024, you're going to be very happily involved with what you do for a crust, and there will be a steady line of income as a result of that. In the back of your mind the whole time is the house, the apartment, or the property investment. So that also has to be included. Okay, so Tiger. In 2024, there is a budding project panel proposal that needs to find a home. It's in the wrong place. Now, it may be you who's looking after this or somebody else. It's not enough, though, to say one day this will happen. Anita Roddick once said to me, life is not a dress rehearsal. And that actually made me publish my very first book. I rang up the switchboard at HarperCollins, and that began my publishing career. So that reminds me of this reading for you, in that life is not a dress rehearsal. You can't always be getting ready to be successful, and it's the same for somebody else, perhaps. It's unclear as to whether this is about you speculating on how this could work, or whether you're closely involved with somebody who's procrastinating. The truth about this year is that this will and can take off in the right environment. So rather than just admire the concept or the brainwave, it's a very good moment to do some research and find out, where has this succeeded for other people? What part of the map will it work for me or for us? That will make all the difference. And this is truly something that could go on growing, going concern, growing concern. The other thing about this year that I'd need to talk to you about, Tiger, is that there is a recovery period for you. You have been through a very difficult time in 2023. Okay, so the Asian cycles of time, based on the lunar calendar and Jupiter, among other things, show that you have been subject to the slings and arrows, as Shakespeare would say. So 2024 is recovery. You need to repair and rest and recuperate. You need to reincarnate. You need to be reborn. When the time is right, you will come into that new life. But for now, if you want to take time out, you absolutely deserve to do that. And you will know when to do that. In the background, and this is also very important, is a mother-child relationship. Now, this may be your memory of your mother and yourself when you were very small. It may be you now with a son or daughter, which again is very much in the picture. Or alternatively, it may be the possibility of having a child in the future, or perhaps becoming a step parent or adopting. It really depends on your personal birth chart, okay? And it's very much about, can I make this real? How do I walk into this picture? If you want to go further into the relationship that you had with your own mother, how do you do that? If you want to have a baby, how is that going to work in the real world? I don't think anything can happen until you've been through this process of recovery and repair, okay? But in 2024, it's definitely coming for you. Okay, so now we're up to Rabbit, the fourth sign of the Asian zodiac. Rabbit, there is a philosophy, a religion, a spirituality, a creed, a doctrine, a dogma, which is terribly important this year. It may be you who is passing this on to other people, or it may be you who is on the receiving end of it. So this may be anything from the Roman Catholic Church to the Golden Dawn. It may be quantum mechanics. It may be very niche or quite mainstream. So it might be, for example, Islam or the Anglican Church. Whatever it is, there is a key moment here this year when you decide, am I committed? Am I there? Am I with this? Is this where I belong in my life? In which case, it's tremendously powerful stuff. Or you have the option of rejecting it and saying, I no longer want to be part of the Roman Catholic Church, or I no longer relate to being a Jew, for example, or I no longer relate to the tarot or paganism or whatever it is. Maybe you've been a non-believer all your life, but you no longer want to be an agnostic. So it is this choice that you have this year, 2024. Do I accept this, recommit, take it fully on board, but maybe in a more powerful way, and change myself even more? Or am I going to walk away? Do I have doubts? Am I a doubting Thomas, or am I a true believer? That's terribly important for you this year. The other thing about this year, Rabbit, is that there will be a victory for you. This may be coming first in a competition, winning a battle, okay, or a contest, getting a big hit. It feels like one of those situations where others are with you, but you are the star. So, for example, you may be the captain of your football team and you're about to turn in a victory, or you may be a politician and be on the winning side in an election. The key thing about this year is that you can't rest on your laurels. So when you are aware that this is it, I am on top, I have come first, I am the victor, turn and look towards the people around you and make a note of who is there, what they're saying and thinking, and how to bring them through with you, because that's the key to 2024. It's actually about the group, and it's about your allies, and it's about the loyalty or otherwise that's within the assorted group. This means that you can sustain the triumph and you can prolong it and go to the next achievement, rather than, as I've said, resting on your laurels. Okay, so rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, and now we come to dragon. It's your year. Now, it is all about the group for you. The new moon that starts Lunar New Year is in Aquarius, and Aquarius rules clubs, teams, circles, communities. I'm going to start by saying that you are a powerful force this year. It is your year. And like all good dragons, you are going to be one step ahead and pull off the most amazing coup, really, because what you're about to do is identify an issue involving a group and get rid of it before it even has a start to become real. So if you are aware of a circle of people or a community, maybe a political party, maybe a football team, plotting and planning and up to no good, you, dragon, are in a position to remove the ammunition that they could use against you or others. Okay, you are in a position to be so quick off the mark in 2024 that before they even realize what has happened, you have taken that away. You have also then quit the scene. Now that's a coup. All right. The only thing I would say is that you can be too fast. So even though this is your year for being a master strategist, plotting and planning in your own way, playing your own chess game and being several moves ahead of them, don't do it too quickly and don't be too cocky about it, because you would benefit by slowing down just a little bit and being a little bit more thoughtful and careful about how you're going to do this, how you're going to get rid of whatever or whomever they would be using against others or against yourself. So the group situation this year is also reflected in a project that you are involved with, or an aim, goal, or ambition. This could be very special. It could be astonishing because you're all so different. You are all independent individuals with your own strong personalities, one or two perhaps stronger than the rest of this group. But there is a lack of agreement, there is a lack of cohesion, there is a lack of cooperation, unity, and solidarity showing up in your Asian chart. So the best way to tackle this is to find somebody else in the group that you can pair off with, and the two of you then can approach another person or another two or three people and say, we need to pull this together. We need to be together, otherwise nothing is going to happen. It's like a band with musical differences or personality differences. If you think about the Beatles, we have four really strong separate individuals, and then we have Sir George Martin, and then we have the people around the Beatles. From that raw material came astonishing, remarkable achievements, which reflected the strong personalities of the Fab Four being Fab. But it wasn't easy. It took an awful lot of work, and there were times when it all fell apart. What turned the tables every time was the individual contribution of one or two people in the band who decided that it's now or never. We have to unite. So that's where you are in 2024, Dragon. It is an Aquarian moon that the year of the dragon comes in on. If you happen to have anything in Aquarius in your natal chart in Western astrology, then have a look at the 11th house and look at the transits to Aquarius this year, because it's going to be terribly important for timing. Okay, so now we go to Snake. Snake, there is a lot of money available this year. It may be you who is here to spend it, save it, or invest it, or you may be negotiating or dealing with somebody who has a fair amount of money, perhaps to put your way if you're fortunate enough. This year is about finding out what other people value in relation to yourself. You have your life budget. You know what is so precious that it's priceless. And you also know who or what is so precious that it's priceless to the other person. If you are a male snake, this is probably you, and you know that you have to do something about your finances to benefit from them rather than sitting on what you've got and allowing a situation to continue growing up around you where it may keep you stuck. You may want to look to a professional for a second opinion. If you're a woman, then it's definitely a man, okay? If you're a man, it may be another man who's very good at investment, shares, business, and so on. But the key to all of this is finding a way to make the most of the assets that are there, finding a way to stop things becoming cluttered and stuck and stagnant financially. And I think remembering that there's a property market in the background and keeping close tabs on that, because if the property market happens to change, you want to be liquid, or he needs to be liquid, to go out there and deal with it. The other thing about this year is a clear choice, a crossroads choice for you. And this is more likely if you're a woman. Okay, so I've spoken about the male snake, and this is the female snake. Basically, you have to choose left or right, west or east. You will be equally divided between two options. It may be two places, two people, or a big yes or no, or stay or go. The difficulty for you is that you are on the defensive. Okay, you are on the defensive because you are aware, or you were aware, of something or someone that got at you or could have become an issue for you. The truth is that things may have moved on. You won't know until you act to enable yourself to see what's actually there. This is a tricky one because it's going to rely on very fast timing and a bit of intuition. But when you feel that the coast is clear, when your five senses and six senses tell you there's nothing there, I'm okay, that is when you can put down your defenses, lower your guard, and instead of focusing constantly on trying to protect yourself, you can actually remove who or what is preventing you from seeing clearly. And when that happens, you can join or rejoin a group that will change your life. If you are a male, then this is a woman in your world, and you will go through this process with her. It may be your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, your sister, your boss, but she has a crossroads choice, okay? We now go to horse. So rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse. There is a lot of money for you this year, horse. It is an enormous lump sum. Maybe you're already aware of it. The issue here is, do you believe it? Do you feel that you deserve it? Can you reach for it and make it your own? Are you ready to absorb it into your life? Now, at some point, some of you will be saying, are you kidding? You know, but you'd be amazed at how many people wrangle over money. They have a debate with themselves, or they're not entirely clear that it's good for them, or they deserve it, or it's true, all of that. So actually, your relationship with money this year needs to be something that you sort out. On the Western side of astrology, we are in a Jupiter in Taurus year, a Uranus in Taurus year. And if your chart in the West has Taurus factors, then I would bank on it being April or May 2024. Okay. Pennies from heaven are real in 2024. And this lump sum can be used to improve your home. It can be used to improve the house, the apartment, the garden. You could go traveling with it, or you could even relocate or emigrate. It's that sort of money. It is there for you. Make it real. The other thing I would say about this year, that it's very much for you about the family tree. Now, the family tree has got to a point where it needs to be tended, looked after, nurtured, and in some way sorted out. You're probably aware of that. Some branches of the family tree are not exactly helping the growth of the tree. Now, they can go through a force of nature, through events, atmospheres, developments which are bigger than all of you. It's rather like saying this is just down to the astrological climate. Not all the branches on the family tree can carry on the way that they've been carrying on. At the same time, however, you, perhaps, or another person is so proactive, so impatient, so dynamic, and so energetic that it may be you or this second person who decides the time has come for me to take on the responsibility of sorting this out. And that means that the family tree will get sorted out a lot faster than otherwise would be the case. But I think one way or another, no matter if this is intervention from you or another person, or whether it is just the astrological cycles of time, the way things are with the family cannot go on as it has been and won't. New growth will happen as a result of what comes to pass. It will, however, be a period of tremendous uncertainty. Okay, the stability and the security that you want is not there temporarily. It's a bit like a wild and stormy weather passing through, but sometimes that can be a very good thing. You know, I'm thinking about my garden here behind me in Australia as I'm talking to you, and sometimes a storm is the best thing that could possibly happen. I don't have to get a gardener in, okay? The weather does the cleaning up for me, and there might be a lot of branches on the ground afterwards, but then the new growth happens. To use a gardening analogy, even though I'm a terrible gardener. Okay, so now we come to the 8th Asian sign. Rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat. So I've been chatting a bit about groups. The year of the dragon comes in on the new moon in Aquarius, which rules the group. This year, you will be in a group against one person, or you will be the one person against the group. It doesn't really matter in a strange sort of way because the ultimate outcome is good for all of you if you can only set aside your differences and unite. You have been listening to this forecast so far and seen me talk about dragon in relation to the group, and there may be a dragon involved. You are against the many, or you are one of the many against somebody else. But the great irony of this situation is that you are all remarkably similar in your ideas and opinions. Intellectually, what you say online or what you think, what you say to each other, the books that you read, pretty samey. So you have to ask, where has this huge rift come from? Where has the great divide come from? It's certainly not going to be solved with more feelings. There is a fair amount of, I think, defensiveness here. There's a fair amount of energy here that's not perhaps being used productively. The overarching message is that if you are all going to do something incredible together, then you have to find a way to sort this out and close the gap and either bring that individual into the fold and perhaps make amends and go forward together, or as the individual who is feeling at loggerheads with the group, try and see the benefit in you coming across to their side. I do think you're going to have to meet in the middle, but it's one of those years when that's possible. We have Pluto, which is transformative in Aquarius, the sign of the varied community or the circle. When that happens, all things are possible. The only other issue to say about this divide between the many and the one is that it has a lot to do with geography. So it may be that you're in different places on the map, and that's one of the problems, and that can be sorted out as well. As we go into the second part of your reading, this is really for the female of the species. You could be male or female and affected by that group issue. But if you're a female goat, you are at a point in 2024 when you must break free. You could allow nature to take its course, and I think what is encircling you, trapping you, confining you would fall away anyway. But why would you want to wait for that? You know, it's so much more empowering to use whatever or whomever was against you, which you feel confined by, and consciously use it to break free and to see clearly. Because one of the issues for you as a woman is that you're not seeing who and what is really there. If you're a man, this is a woman in your life. It may be your wife or girlfriend, your mother, daughter, sister, your boss, friend, and so on. But what happens to her profoundly affects you. One of the things about this year is that there is a potential reward in that if you're a woman, you could relocate. You could go to a new house, a new apartment, a new workspace, a new place to study, but you're not going to be able to do it while you're feeling so stuck. And part of that stuckness comes from guessing and assuming, not knowing. Try to stop living in your head with your eyes closed almost and assuming that you know what's going on. You actually don't, but you're not going to discover that until you actually mentally, emotionally make a conscious decision that you are going to use what you previously felt so confronted by to actually liberate yourself. And when you liberate yourself, you can see. And when you see, you'll realize, my God, a new life is closer than I ever thought. And there is nothing and nobody there. That's going to be quite a breakthrough for you. Okay, so we're now up to the 9th Asian sign. Rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey. Monkey. If you're a female monkey, then this year you will publish, graduate, get letters after your name, teach or lecture, you may launch a website. Okay, it's very, very clear, very, very simple. If you're a male, then this woman will profoundly affect you, and this may be your wife getting her Bachelor of Arts degree, or it may be your sister publishing a book, or it may be your professor at university coming out with a landmark thesis. There is a tremendous amount of female wisdom locked up in your Asian chart this year. It's not just I suppose, the kudos or the respect, it's also the value of the knowledge that's in the hand. So if you are a woman monkey with a view to something online or on paper this year, maybe you're interested in academia, maybe it's just on a social media level, be aware that what you have is the repository of your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom, and pretty much everything about your life has led you to this point. So it's incredibly valuable and it's special. It's a testament to who you are, what you know, and what you've done. And it needs to be passed on. It doesn't matter if it's minority interest or a niche subject. That's irrelevant. The point of this year is that this is me and I am the end product. This is the end product of everything that I know and everything that I've accumulated. If you're a man, then this woman is worth learning from. In fact, you may realize that she is your unofficial tutor, mentor, guide, or influence. And sometimes it's somebody that you've never met. So it may be, for example, a female academic or a businesswoman who is at the top of her game. She can also be powerfully influential in this very important year. The other thing I would say in this year of ideas and concepts is that you'll have 1, 2, or 3 different projects that belong somewhere else. There will be, I think, a gold rush atmosphere, a little bit like the Californian gold rush or the Australian gold rush of the 19th century. Everybody's going to this place with this concept or project or plan or idea, or with their qualifications. Everyone has spotted, I suppose, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You need to keep up with them and you need to be part of that first wave. What you have is full of budding potential. It hasn't delivered yet. It could deliver, it could grow. It's not going to grow where you are. You're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong town or country or the wrong region. But somewhere out there, and you can see other people going towards it, there is exactly what you're looking for. This is one of those years when you need to be a multitasker and a juggler. In May 2024 and June 2024, Jupiter goes into Gemini, which is a sign of both ideas and also multitasking. Gemini also rules journeys. So I have a hunch, particularly if you have Gemini in your Western chart, that it will be May and June 2024 that sees you exporting this or maybe accompanying it as you join the passing parade, the great procession, the caravan, if you like, of people heading towards the promised land. It may be artificial intelligence, it may have nothing to do with that, but it's terribly important that you get moving and also understand that it's not just one idea and 2 that you've maybe put on the back burner, it's actually 2 or 3. Gemini is about twins, okay? And there are at least a pair of plans or concepts here that you need to move with. Okay, so Rooster. Well, this year you will be alone in order to find meaning and purpose. You need to be alone in order to do that because you cannot get it when you are distracted and diverted by other people. So, this is the year when solitude is sacred and special, and solitude will bring you what you need on the inside in order to find your path. There is no point in looking to externals for the meaning and purpose. It won't give you that. There will be a period of time this year when you are very much left to your own devices and you will be searching for answers. You may be doing it online, so you may be looking for your soul reflected in the glare of the computer. Okay. It may be meditation, which is an obvious gateway to a greater sense of meaning and understanding. Whatever you're doing, it's very personal and private to you. I don't think you're satisfied so far with what life has given you. It doesn't add up for you. There is a period of time this year, Year of the Dragon, when you just can't afford the energy for other people and for life. You have to put the energy into yourself because it takes enormous energy to transform. And this is a transformative year. Once you have found your path and have found your light, if you like, you are then ready to move forward and shed the old life and shed the guise of the hermit, if you like. Be the next version of yourself. Go out to meet the world. But for you to benefit really in 2024, accept what so many people have discovered, that sometimes you just need to be alone. And by being alone, you find the truth, whatever that truth is for you. And then you have clear direction. In addition to that, I've spoken about the group. Again and again, groups keep coming up for the Asian signs because, of course, the dragon year comes in on an Aquarian new moon. And this year, Pluto is also in Aquarius, the sign of the club, the team, the community, the band, the political party, the secret society, and so on. You will be in a group this year which could fall in a heap. Okay. You may know that already. But here's the thing, it could also miraculously come together in a way that leaves jaws on the floor. It's a little bit like that moment in old war films from the 40s and 50s when the RAF are told to scramble and they race towards their planes, they race towards their Spitfires, and you wonder, how on earth are they going to do it? How is this going to work? But then they pull it off. The formation is there. This thing of great beauty and power takes place. And you get this feeling of this incredible cohesive whole. Well, that's pretty much your year. Or, as I said, it could end in a heap. The trick to this is to understand that you need to get somebody else on side. You can't do this by yourself unless you're some kind of Svengali with tremendous powers of persuasion over everybody in the group. It will help you more to have an ally. So you and somebody else really need to get together and say, this is not going to end well until we do something. And then with help, you can maybe persuade another person, another couple of people to join you and turn this thing around. It will still mean a restructure. Okay, you're going to have to, whichever way this lands, whether you all land in beautiful formation, defying your critics, or whether you do end up in a bit of a muddle and a heap, you still have to restructure. You have to take the separate people involved, the separate plans and ideas, and rebuild them. But having said that, the potential is extraordinary over the long term. If you wanted to do what the Amish do and raise a barn, you could raise a barn. It's easier for the Amish because they're used to doing things collectively. There's something about this group that tells me you're too distant from each other. There's too much space in between you all. But that's something that can be corrected, as I've said, and remedied. And it's worth it. It's worth the try, because if you get this right, you will have renewed faith in each other and you will have pulled off something amazing. And from there, you can then restructure with even more potency and success. The end result for all of you could be quite incredible. And so we come to dog. Dog, there is a lot of money and security this year. You or somebody else is sitting pretty. There is more than enough money. There is, in the background, the property market as well, which needs to be watched. very carefully. You need to monitor what's going on with real estate, okay? Either because this other person who is in a position to negotiate with you needs to be aware of it, or because you are the person who has the money. It can work either way. It really depends on your personal Western chart. I think the time for all of this is probably April, May 2024, when the Taurus weather starts to peak. Taurus ruling everything that you own, earn, or owe. It rules business, charity, it rules the bank, it rules shares, and as I've said, it rules the property market. So that might be the timing for you, and your personal chart will tell you, am I the person who's got it all, or am I dealing with somebody who's got it all? Either way, there has to be, I think, an understanding that Jupiter's not going to stay in Taurus forever. The Asian signs are actually based on Jupiter cycles. Same idea, same planet, the Silk Road, everybody kind of met in the middle. And in Western astrology, Jupiter will leave Taurus, the security and finance sign, in May 2024. Just before that, there is a Uranus-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus in April, and that's liberating and it's freeing. And I think it's a signal for you or for this person to stop hanging on and holding on quite so tightly to the assets. There is a good case to be made for freeing things up, for letting go, for investing, maybe for changing the habits of a lifetime and giving the money to somebody who needs it. There's all sorts of potential here for bargaining and negotiating, and 2024 is the year when you are in a comfortable position to be able to do it, or you will be strongly affected by somebody who can. The final sign of the Asian zodiac is Pig. Now, Pig, there is also money around for you. And I wonder if you might not be connected to dog. That's possible. Pig and dog might be on the same page. And it's not entirely clear where this money has come from with dog. Dog, you may find that the financing is there because there's a change at the top of the business or the company or the family. It may be that the head of the household is replaced or the head of the company is replaced. That can happen too. What we're seeing for you, before I get thoroughly into Pig, is dog, you have this almost like a coronation, small c. It's almost as if somebody new is coming in very quickly to replace what was there, and the group scatters. But as a result of that happening in your family or at work or in business, there will be a lot more to play with, a lot more possibility, a lot more new potential than was there. And as a result of that, I'm wondering if that's actually why the money is there for you, or whether that's why you are now going to be drawn closely towards somebody who does have the money. Okay, so Pig, that was a bit of a segue there, but you might actually find yourself involved with dog on that level. For you, Pig, there is enough money to invest, to finish a project, or to negotiate over. It's more likely to be you if you're a man, okay? If you're a woman, it will be a man that you're dealing with. Sometimes you don't need an awful lot to get going with. You can put a small investment in and see it reap huge dividends. So this amount of money is really about that. It's the sort of money that says, well, I can finish that job in the garden, or I can put this back into an environmental organisation that I believe in. I can put it into the family, or I can use it to help me pursue an ambition. It's not an absolute fortune, but the key to 2024 is understanding a little goes a long way. If it's researched well enough, if there's enough forethought and planning and premeditation, then even a modest sum can be made to grow and grow and grow. It does look as though it's a period of speculation for you or for this other person. It's as if taking the time pays off quite genuinely and literally. There's no rush here. It has to be weighed and measured, but what is in the hand is solid gold, and it could perform all sorts of fantastic things. Again, back to the Western zodiac, it's likely to be April at the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus, the sign of money, or May, which is Jupiter's last gasp in the sign of Taurus. But we also have quite a lot of Taurus weather in May as well. So that would be the timing, I think, particularly if you have factors in Taurus in your natal chart. Back to the money again. Money can do all sorts of things, as I've mentioned, in your year. a little can go a very long way. You're also going to face a really important question about money and health. And this will be for you or for people who are important to you. The difference between low health or poor health, be it physical or mental, is often money. People talk about throwing money at the problem. There is financing available. Now, you may be the person who is in a position to make this happen for others. You can help them. You can intervene. You can act. You can shoulder the responsibility, and you can guide them towards where the money is. This may be health insurance. It may be government benefits. It may be a charity. It may be a bank account that people have forgotten about. Okay, all sorts of possibilities here, or a donation, a gift. But if you are on the outside of the situation, when you realize that the only thing that's going to make a difference to people is throwing money at the problem, then it's up to you to make that happen. If you are in a position this year where your health is not up to par, when you are dealing with mental or physical health issues and or supporting somebody else who is, then you need to know that the money is there. That's what it's there for. The fact that you can't see it, you may not be aware of it, you may not believe in it, maybe you don't have the energy to pursue it, is irrelevant. We are in a big, big finance year. Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, okay, it's historic. That's in the Western chart. And so everything can be fixed when there is finance made available and it's there. If you need help, if you can't do this by yourself, ask somebody to help you. Ask and somebody can intervene and guide you. It's terribly important in this year, which is so Taurian on one level as well as being Aquarian. So that's the whistle-stop guide through the 12 Asian signs with one eye on the West. If you want to know more about your Asian sign, if you need to check what that is, particularly if you're born in January or February, then you can go to my website, Jessica Adams, and all will be revealed. Thanks for listening. I think we've got a date with fate next year, don't we? When the year of the dragon ends in January. But for now, I hope you enjoy the next 12 months and I'll see you online.